Welcome back to Inside City Hall. While many New Yorkers are trying to put their homes together after the storm, small businesses all across the city in areas that the hurricane hit are also trying to get back on track, which in some cases is proving to be nearly impossible. Joining me now to discuss some of the challenges and some solutions, we've got the city's Commissioner of Small Business Services, Rob Walsh. Seth Pinsky is here. He is the president of the city's Economic Development Corporation. We've got Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, who just hosted a forum today on small business recovery, and Carlo Scissura, who is the president and CEO of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. Thank you all for joining us. Good to see you. And let me start with you, Congresswoman. Your district spans both sides of the East River. You've got people in Long Island City who got hurt real bad, people on the east side who got hit real bad. What happened at today's forum, and what can you tell some of the small business people out there?
Well, actually, I had two, one in Manhattan and one in Long Island City, Western Queens. And mainly, these businesses need help, they need answers, and they need action. And one of the things that we can do, and we had FEMA there, we had the city, we had the state, and we had small businesses, they should register, get into the system. The deadline is December 31st. After that, they're not supposed to be able to register.
Just to register with FEMA?
FEMA and Small Business Administration. And get their number. They may say they don't know the assessment. Just register, figure it out later. The Small Business Administration said that 5 million had left and gone to the ground in New York. Over 160,000 applications have been received, but they haven't gotten them back. They've got to get those applications back so that we can start helping them. FEMA announced that they have $500 million that they have in people's hands in New York now because people filed and their grants and their loans got to them. But the Small Business Administration can give a bridge loan immediately to keep these small businesses operating without collateral up to $14,000. They can give loans up to $2 million, and no one should go out of business. The help is there. We're going back to Long Island City on Monday and Tuesday to help people fill out their forms. Errol, some of these people are so traumatized. They've lost their everything and demolished their business. In one restaurant, the water was up 2 floors, completely decimated the whole place, complete areas, all of their equipment destroyed, billions of dollars of aid is needed to repair.
So FEMA and the SBA on the federal side, and from the city, Rob?
The city, well, thanks to Seth Pinsky, Economic Development Corporation, and Goldman Sachs, we have a $10 million fund. And we have a loan that we are turning it out. We have a number of loans that have already been approved and checks handed over. There's 350 in the pipeline, and let me explain. $25,000, a 0 interest rate, you can't get better than that, 1% after 6 months up to 24 months. Economic Development Corporation, Goldman Sachs put together up to $10 million. And you know, this is for folks who are looking to repair their store shops, their floors, their inventory, and get up and running again. Now, the other key thing is if someone applies for the city loan, they could also apply for the loan that the Congresswoman mentioned. And that's what we're encouraging, people to apply for the loans and also do the federal program too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the program that Commissioner Walsh just described is one of several programs that the city has actually put in place, and these are meant to be complementary to the programs that are available at the state and federal level as well. We have about $35 million devoted towards small business recovery. Commissioner Walsh talked about $10 million in our loan fund that we created with Goldman Sachs. But we also have a program where the New York City Industrial Development Agency is able essentially to discount the cost of reconstruction by up to $100,000 per project. That's available for at least 250 businesses in the city. And that program can be applied to through the New York City EDC. In addition to that, we're also trying to address some of the needs of companies for space and services. We've created at nycedc.com/back-to-business an exchange where basically businesses and individuals who have been interested in making contributions to help businesses to get back on their feet are posting the space that they have, the services that they have, the goods that they have. The only condition that we put on that posting is that those goods, services, and space, they have to be available at 0 cost. And we have about 250,000 square feet available for companies in New York. We also have 40,000 square feet at the Brooklyn Army Terminal that EDC is making available at no cost for short-term use by businesses.
Okay, so now, Carlo, the businesses that you work with, I know you've got about 1,000 or 1,000 plus members in here. Yeah. What about insurance? I mean, that should be covering some portion of this, but that's not necessarily the case.
So what we're being told is that most businesses, particularly the small businesses in places like Coney Island and Sheepshead Bay and Gerritsen Beach and Brighton Beach and Red Hook are not covered. So they don't have flood insurance, and their insurance carriers are telling them, sorry, we can't help you. So these business loans are very important. We run the Small Business Solution Center in Brooklyn. Thanks to Commissioner Walsh and his team. We have packaged over 200 applications already. There's about another 100 coming down the pike. We're offering space as well at the chamber offices and other places. And also, we started a great program with the Brooklyn Community Foundation and the Brooklyn Borough President. We've raised over $1.5 million. We have money going onto the streets as we speak. $85,000 went into Gerritsen Beach over the weekend to hire plumbers and electricians to get businesses and residents up and running again. But the small loan packages are what's going to save a lot of these businesses. They're quick bridge loans, they're easy to do. The chamber's filling them out for businesses. They can come right to our office. We sit with them, we work with them.
Okay, I want to talk some more about loans and some of the other aspects of business recovery in just a minute. Right now, though, we're going to take a break. Then we will continue this discussion. And later tonight, Chris Ward, the former executive director of the Port Authority, will give us his suggestions about future storm preparedness for our city. Also tonight, find out what advice the four members of our Consultants Corner have for the president and congressional leaders as their fiscal cliff talks continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to Inside City Hall, where we are talking about small business recovery from Hurricane Sandy with the Commissioner of Small Business Services, Robert Walsh, Seth Pinsky, the President of the city's Economic Development Corporation, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, and Carlo Scissura, the President and CEO of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. And Carlo, let me ask you this. I mean, sure. I've seen from a lot of businesses, they're saying, we don't need loans. We don't need another obligation. We can't pay our rent. We're wondering what's going to happen to our employees. Insurance has let us down. Are loans the only thing that we can do for them right now?
So right now, I think businesses should register immediately with SBA. They should get in there, even if they don't use the loan, they should clearly register, because it could at least be a bridge loan until they figure out, are there grants available? Are there tax breaks that the state is doing? Are there sales tax incentives? Will there be property tax incentives moving forward? Mm-hmm. But the most important thing is file those forms, because the deadline is December 31st, mm-hmm. and we don't want anyone to lose out on what's coming.
Rob, I know just in the normal course of business, you deal with tons and tons of businesses, and I know how heartbreaking it is, especially for a family-owned business, to just see them go out of business. But the reality is that happens a lot anyhow, right? The restaurant doesn't catch on.
It does.
Or
you know, a good number of restaurants do fail. It's a high percentage, and you know, the key thing here is, and what I've noticed going around to many small businesses, I was at a place called One Girl Cookie in Dumbo, if I could do a little bit of a plug. You know, this person turned around, you know, right after the storm, kept the people on payroll, and did all the work themselves. They opened this past week. And there's many other stories. I know mm-hmm. Carlo has seen these stories, you know, from Red Hook to Coney Island to Gerritsen Beach to so many other places. You know, I think the key thing, quite frankly, is to be building the capacity of many of these organizations on the ground. Congresswoman knows in Long Island City, you know, organizations like the Business Development Corporations, Business Improvement Districts, having those organizations connect the dots in government on the federal, state, and local levels.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Seth, when we see that, you know, there's going to be billions of dollars perhaps in federal aid of some kind, I guess if you take a step back from sort of a micro level, is the city going to be okay? I mean, a small business, I know any individual one may have a disaster from which they may not be able to recover, but are we going to get back to where we were in some reasonable amount of time?
Look, this has been an incredible tragedy, and for some people, especially people who lost loved ones, they will never get past this event. That being said, as a city, we are an extremely resilient place, and we have an enormous economy. Our metropolitan economy is roughly the size of the economy, a little bit smaller, but roughly the size of the economy of India. The impact that this had in absolute numbers is extraordinarily significant, but as a percentage of our total economy, is going to be more modest. That being said, we need the assistance. We're going to need the assistance from the state. We're going to need the assistance from the federal government to help us get back on our feet. But with that assistance and with the resilience of the people of the city, there's no question in my mind that we will eventually recover.
And Congresswoman, you've been in Washington for what is, I guess, the rump session, the so-called lame duck session. What's the sentiment down there as far as providing some of the support that New York is asking for?
The sentiment down there is we're so happy our president got reelected, and that's what we were focusing on this last week, and that we gained and held on to the Senate and gained some seats in the House. But we have to remember New York is a donor state. We send much more to the federal government than what comes back, and we need help now. The estimated cost is $50 billion. The governor has called for $30 billion. We got $20 billion for 9/11, but we will be united and determined and work with our colleagues. We certainly have supported the tornadoes in Alabama, the South Dakota's problems. I know Alabama got $120 million in SBA loans. We've only gotten $5 million. We have a lot of room to grow, so everybody should apply, and they're very flexible. If you can't pay interest rates for a while, they can work with you. If you need a grant, they can work with you. They want to help. The response has been incredible. We've had about 10 different commissioners. I know Secretary Napolitano has been there 8 times that I know about, that I was there with her, and she may have been here more. Sebelius had a conference call on the problems of our hospitals. I know 3 are closed in the district that I'm privileged to represent. So there's a lot of challenges, but I think the real story is that New Yorkers are at our best when our back is up against the wall. And I was at a little restaurant in Queens where every year she had a Halloween party. So when she was decimated, the sewage ran through the place. The whole community, the fire department, all the churches, the synagogues showed up to clean up her restaurant and have it ready for the 300 children that were going to come for the Halloween party. So there's a tremendous community spirit of New Yorkers helping New Yorkers, going door to door to make sure that people had food and hot water. And the president's, you have 15 minutes to get back to anyone who calls with a problem. That directive has worked. They have responded, or maybe we just learned a lot from 9/11. The coordinated spirit between the city, state, and federal government has never been better.
Very good. In our last minute, Carlo, the Brooklyn brand, it includes things like Nathan's Famous,
Yeah.
Coney Island. It includes the River Cafe. It includes Fairway out in Red Hook. All of these have been wiped out for now. When do you foresee turning
So
that around?
I would bet you and Nathan's Hot Dog that at 4th of July, Nathan's will be up and running. I'm sure Buzzy O'Keefe and the River Cafe will be back to normal. What I would say is that's very important moving forward is that people need to get out into these neighborhoods. There are businesses, as the commissioner said, that are up and running. What we like to say in Brooklyn is shop Brooklyn. Don't go to the malls, don't go on the internet, don't leave Brooklyn. Shop Brooklyn, go to Red Hook, go to Coney Island, go to Brighton Beach and Sheepshead Bay, spend your money there. There are great businesses that are opening. And we just got a great grant from TD Bank to actually do neighborhood rebuilding in these neighborhoods that are hurt. And not just in Brooklyn, but working with our partners at the Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, and Staten Island chambers. So we're urging people, go into your local neighborhoods, look at a store that's been hurt, and spend your money there.
Okay, that's going to be the last word. And so we've been asking every night for people to give donations. We have a whole system of ways to do that on our own website. But one thing that people should also keep in mind is they want you to go shopping.
Yes.
And this is the holiday season.
Shop.
Thanks a whole lot for the work that you're doing. Thanks for coming in to tell us about it. We're going to take a break now. Still ahead, we'll talk more about storm recovery with Chris Ward, the former head of the Port Authority. And later tonight, we'll ask the 4 members of our Consultants Corner who has the upper hand in the fiscal cliff talks, President Obama or the Republican Congress. Stay with us.